Ladies and gentlemen, there will always be forces trying to put a price on you. They will measure your worth by what you produce, by what you sell, and by how well you fit into their mold. But I tell you today, do not be a product. Products are made, bought, and replaced. An asset, however, is invaluable, irreplaceable, and built to last. The world does not need another person waiting to be chosen, waiting to be packaged, marketed, and sold. It needs people who stand in their own power, people who build themselves from the inside out, not the outside in. You must know your worth before anyone else does. A product waits on demand, but an asset creates its own. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to contribute, to create, to lead. An asset does not chase validation. An asset commands respect. It does not change its essence to fit a trend. It creates movements that last beyond its time. There will always be people, systems, and industries that try to tell you what you're worth. They'll put numbers on you, define you by titles, and categorize you based on what you can do for them. But let me tell you something, your worth is not up for negotiation. It is not measured by a paycheck, a degree, or the opinions of others. Your worth is inherent. It exists whether or not the world recognizes it. Too often we allow society to dictate our value. We let job titles define us, we let social media likes validate us, and we let external approval determine our confidence. But what happens when those things are stripped away? What happens when the applause stops, when the job is lost, when the validation fades? If your worth is built on what you can produce, then the moment you stop producing, you risk feeling worthless. And that is a dangerous place to be. Knowing your worth means understanding that your value is not tied to what you do, but to who you are. It means walking into a room and not needing to prove yourself because you already know you belong. It means standing firm in your identity, even when others try to shake it. An asset does not beg to be chosen. It recognizes its value and moves accordingly. When you know your worth, you stop settling for less. You stop accepting relationships that drain you, jobs that exploit you, and environments that don't nourish you. When you know your worth, you demand better, not just from the world, but from yourself. And here's the truth. The moment you start acting like an asset, the world will treat you like one. When you invest in yourself, when you stand firm in your beliefs, when you sharpen your skills and refine your mind, people will see the value you bring. You won't have to convince them. They'll know. So don't shrink yourself to fit into places that were never meant for you. Don't lower your value to be more palatable. Walk boldly, speak confidently, carry yourself like the asset you are. Because the moment you know your worth, the world has no choice but to recognize it too. A resume is a piece of paper. It lists your experiences, your education, and the places you've worked. But here's the truth. Your resume alone will not set you apart. It is not the degrees you've earned or the job titles you've held that make you valuable. It's the skills you've developed, the knowledge you've mastered, and the wisdom you've gained through experience that truly make you an asset. Too many people chase credentials without building competence. They gather certifications like trophies, hoping that a collection of achievements will guarantee them success. But success does not come from the paper, it comes from the person. A resume may open a door, but only your skills can keep you in the room. Think about the people who have changed the world, leaders, innovators, and pioneers. They didn't get there by just filling out applications. They got there because they mastered something. They became irreplaceable in their field. They built expertise that no one could take away from them. That's the difference between a product and an asset. A product is marketed based on surface level appeal, but an asset is valued because of its depth. So what are you doing to make yourself indispensable? What skills are you sharpening? What knowledge are you acquiring? It's not enough to just have experience. You must extract wisdom from that experience. It's not enough to just work a job. You must learn and grow from every position you hold. Building skills means constantly evolving. It means reading, learning, practicing, and pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. It means developing communication skills so that you can articulate your ideas with confidence. It means honing problem-solving abilities so that you can navigate challenges with resilience. It means embracing adaptability because the world is constantly changing and those who fail to grow will be left behind. The difference between someone who is easily replaced and someone who is irreplaceable is not what's on their resume. It's what they bring to the table that no one else can. When you build skills, you create opportunities for yourself. You stop waiting for doors to open and start building your own. So don't just chase titles. Don't just collect accolades. Focus on mastering something that adds real value to the world. Be so good they can't ignore you. Because a resume may get you a job, but your skills will create a legacy. In a world that constantly emphasizes external success, titles, wealth, and influence, it is easy to overlook the one thing that defines who you truly are, your character. While skills can be learned and opportunities can be given, character is something you must build from within. It is the foundation upon which everything else stands. And without a strong foundation, nothing you achieve will last. Character is what speaks for you when you are not in the room. It is what determines how you respond to challenges, how you treat people when no one is watching, and how you handle power, failure, and success. A person with skills but no character may rise quickly, but they will also fall just as fast, because in the end, talent may open doors, but only integrity will keep them open. Investing in your character means making a commitment to honesty, resilience, and self-discipline. It means doing the right thing even when it's not the easiest option. It means standing by your values even when it costs you something. It means being accountable not only when things go right, but especially when they go wrong. Too many people chase success without thinking about the person they are becoming in the process. They cut corners, compromise their morals, and step on others just to get ahead. But what good is gaining the whole world if you lose yourself in the process? A true asset understands that long-term success is built on integrity, that wealth without wisdom is dangerous, that power without principle is destructive. Your character is what determines how you handle failure. Life will test you. There will be setbacks, disappointments, and moments of uncertainty. But a strong character does not break under pressure. It adapts and grows. It turns losses into lessons and setbacks into comebacks. And let's talk about relationships. Because who you are matters just as much as what you do. People may be impressed by your achievements, but they will only trust you based on your character, your ability to build meaningful connections, to show empathy, to uplift others, and to lead with authenticity. These are the things that will make you truly valuable. So, invest in your character, work on your patience, develop your integrity, strengthen your resilience, because at the end of the day, it won't be your resume, your bank account, or your reputation that defines you. It will be the person you chose to become. One of the biggest traps in life is the constant pursuit of validation. From an early age, we are conditioned to seek approval from our parents, teachers, friends, and eventually from society as a whole. We are taught that success is measured by applause, that acceptance is something we must earn, and that our worth is determined by how many people recognize it. But let me tell you something, if you spend your life chasing validation, you will never feel truly fulfilled. Why? Because validation is a moving target. The moment you achieve one level of approval, another expectation will be set before you. You get the degree, and then they ask about your career. You land the job, and then they ask when you're getting promoted. You buy the house, and then they ask about starting a family. It never ends. If you live for the approval of others, you will die exhausted, constantly running a race that has no finish line. You must know your worth beyond external validation. Your worth is not in the number of followers you have, the compliments you receive, or the awards on your shelf. It is not in how many people clap for you, call your name, or acknowledge your presence. Your worth is in your existence. It is in your character, your values, and the impact you make, not because someone else approves of it, but because it is meaningful to you. A person who chases validation is like a product waiting to be bought. They mold themselves to fit the expectations of the world, constantly changing to be more likable, more marketable, more acceptable. But an asset does not beg for attention. An asset is valuable whether people recognize it or not. Gold does not lose its value just because someone fails to see its worth. A diamond remains precious even when buried underground. You too must know that your value does not decrease just because someone else fails to appreciate it. So how do you break free from the need for validation? You start by defining your own standard. You decide what success means to you, not what the world says it should be. You focus on growing, learning, and evolving, not for applause, but for your own fulfillment. You stop waiting for permission to be great. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that don't deserve you. You stop handing over the power of your self-worth to people who don't even understand their own. When you know your worth, you walk differently. You speak with confidence, not arrogance. You move with purpose, not desperation. You attract respect, not just attention. Because people can sense when someone knows who they are. And when you do, you no longer have to chase validation, because you've already given yourself the approval that truly matters. So stand firm, walk boldly, know your worth, and never let the world decide it for you. The world will try to tell your story for you. It will try to define who you are based on where you come from, what you look like, what you have, and what you lack. It will attempt to put you in a box, slap a label on you, and dictate the kind of life you're supposed to live. But hear me clearly. Your story belongs to you. You are not a character in someone else's version of your life. You are the author. You hold the pen. And it's time you start writing your own. Too often, people allow society, circumstances, and other people's opinions to shape their identities. They accept the roles that have been assigned to them, whether it's not good enough, too inexperienced, too different, or too much. They allow past failures to define their future. They let other people's doubts become their own. But you have the power to rewrite your story at any moment. Owning your narrative means refusing to be a product of other people's assumptions. It means rejecting the idea that your past mistakes determine your future success. It means standing tall in your truth, no matter how many times the world tries to erase it. Your story is powerful because it is yours, and no one, not society, not critics, not even your past self. When you own your narrative, you change the way you see yourself. You stop seeing challenges as roadblocks and start viewing them as chapters in your journey. You realize that setbacks are not the end of your story. They are just the plot twists that make your victory even greater. Every struggle, every failure, every lesson you've learned is part of your growth. When you take control of your story, you reclaim the power that life tried to take from you. Think about the most successful, inspiring people you know. Their stories are not perfect. They have faced rejection, adversity, and doubt. But what sets them apart is that they did not allow those hardships to define them. They took control of their narrative. They decided how their story would be told. And that is exactly what you must do. People will have opinions. They will try to tell you who you are. They will try to limit you based on their own fears and insecurities. But their perception of you is not your reality. You must decide what you stand for. You must determine what your life will mean. Do not give away the pen and let someone else write your destiny. You are more than what has happened to you. You are more than what people expect from you. You are a living, breathing, evolving story, and you get to decide how it unfolds. So, own your narrative, speak your truth, live unapologetically, and never let anyone else hold a pen to your life. In a world that often teaches us to look out for ourselves first, the idea of giving more than we take can feel counterintuitive. We live in a culture that glorifies self-interest, where success is often measured by how much wealth, power, or recognition we accumulate. But here's the truth. Those who make the biggest impact, those who leave behind a legacy that lasts, are not the ones who take the most. They are the ones who give the most. Giving more than you take is not just about material generosity. It is about contribution, about leaving people and places better than you found them. It's about pouring into others, whether through knowledge, kindness, time, or support, without always expecting something in return. Because real success is not about what you can collect, it's about what you can create, build, and share. There's a difference between being successful and being significant. Success is about what you achieve for yourself. Significance is about what you do for others. Success fades. Money comes and goes, titles change, and fame is temporary. But significance, that lives on. People may not always remember what you had, but they will always remember how you made them feel. They will remember the wisdom you shared, the encouragement you gave, and the way you showed up when they needed you. Think about the people who have made a difference in your life. Were they the ones who took from you? Or were they the ones who gave? Maybe it was a mentor who guided you without expecting anything in return. Maybe it was a friend who supported you when you had nothing to offer. Maybe it was a teacher, a parent, or even a stranger whose kindness changed your perspective. Those are the people who truly matter because they gave more than they took. Some people fear that giving too much will leave them empty, but the reality is the opposite. When you give, whether it's love, knowledge, encouragement, or opportunity, you create abundance. Giving is not about loss, it's about multiplication. The more you pour into others, the more your life is enriched. This does not mean giving until you have nothing left. It means giving wisely. It means recognizing that you have something valuable to offer, whether it's your skills, your time, your mentorship, or simply your kindness. It means shifting your mindset from, what can I get, to, What can I contribute? And here's the irony. The people who give the most often receive the most in return. Not because they expect it, but because life rewards those who invest in others. Doors open for those who help others open doors. Respect is given to those who uplift others. Opportunities find those who create opportunities for others. At the end of the day, you will not be remembered for how much you accumulated. You will be remembered for how much you gave. The legacy you leave behind will not be written in dollar signs or trophies. It will be written in the lives you touched, the people you helped, and the impact you made. So choose to be a giver. Share your knowledge. Extend your kindness. Help those who cannot help you back. Because when you give more than you take, you don't just make the world better, you become better. In a world full of distractions, expectations, and constant noise, one of the hardest but most important things you can do is stand firm in your purpose. Too many people drift through life bending to the pressures of society, following trends, or seeking approval, instead of truly living out their calling. But if you do not stand firm in your purpose, the world will pull you in every direction, except the one you were meant to follow. Purpose is what gives your life meaning beyond just existing. It is what fuels you when things get hard, what keeps you grounded when everything around you feels uncertain, and what makes your journey uniquely yours. Purpose is not about chasing what looks good on paper. It is about living in alignment with who you truly are. It is about knowing what you were placed on this earth to do and committing to that path no matter how many obstacles arise. Walking in your purpose is not always easy. There will be moments when people doubt you, when the path forward seems unclear, when you question yourself. You will be tempted to take the easy way out, to follow what is popular instead of what is right for you. But standing firm means holding on, even when the road is difficult. It means staying true to your vision, even when others don't see it yet. Many people abandon their purpose because they seek immediate results. They expect success to come quickly, and when it doesn't, they give up. But purpose is not a sprint. It is a lifelong journey. It requires patience, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to the bigger picture. Just because something is taking time does not mean it is not happening. Growth often happens in the unseen moments, in the quiet work, in the struggles that shape you into who you need to be. The deeper your understanding of why you are doing something, the harder it will be for obstacles to shake you. Your why must be bigger than temporary challenges, bigger than fear, and bigger than doubt. When your purpose is clear, you won't quit when things get hard. You will push forward with even more determination. Not everyone will understand your purpose, and that's okay. Some people will criticize you, some will try to discourage you, and some may even laugh at your vision, but their opinions do not define you. When you stand firm, you learn to filter out distractions and focus on what truly matters. Purpose is not just about big moments. It is about the daily discipline of staying on course. The work you do in private, the consistency you maintain when no one is applauding. These are the things that will build you into the person you are meant to be. Every setback, every failure, every roadblock is shaping you for something greater. Instead of seeing challenges as reasons to quit, see them as lessons. See them as necessary parts of your journey. Growth never happens in comfort. The people around you can either push you toward your purpose or pull you away from it. Choose relationships that uplift, encourage, and challenge you to be better. Distance yourself from negativity and from those who do not support your vision. When you stand firm in your purpose, you become unstoppable. You no longer need validation from others because you know why you are here. You no longer fear failure because you understand that setbacks are just setups for greater things. You no longer feel lost because your direction is clear. The world does not need more people who simply exist. It needs people who are fully alive in their purpose. It needs people who refuse to settle, who are committed to their growth, and who are bold enough to stand firm even when the world tells them to move. So, I ask you today, are you standing firm in your purpose, or are you letting the world pull you away from it? The choice is yours. But remember this, when you stand firm, when you refuse to be swayed, when you commit to your calling with everything you have, there is nothing and no one that can stop you. The world will try to shape you into something it can use, something it can label, buy, and sell. It will push you to chase validation, to build a resume instead of true skills, to measure your worth by applause, and to compromise your purpose for acceptance. But you are not a product. You are not here to be consumed, discarded, or molded to fit someone else's expectations. You are an asset, valuable, unique, and irreplaceable. An asset does not chase attention, it creates value. An asset does not seek approval, it knows its worth. An asset does not let others write its story, it owns its narrative. An asset gives more than it takes, stands firm in its purpose, and invests in its character, knowing that true success is not measured by what you gain, but by what you contribute, by the impact you leave behind. So, I challenge you today, stop living like a product and start building yourself into an asset. Master your craft. Stand in your truth. Invest in yourself and in others. Walk boldly in your purpose, because the world does not need another person who simply follows the script. It needs someone who dares to rewrite it. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Your purpose is not for sale. Stand firm, rise above, and become the asset the world cannot afford to lose. When the wind howls at your door and the night refuses to end, ask yourself, who did you need when your hands trembled and your heart felt like it might not beat again? Who did you long for when silence filled your room like a heavy fog and you couldn't find the strength to rise? That version of you aching in the quiet deserves someone now. Someone strong, someone tender, someone who knows how to hold pain without letting it break them. That someone, my dear, is you. There comes a time when we must stop looking behind us for the hands that never. There was a time you sat in silence, wondering if anyone would ever understand what you were going through. The night stretched long, and the ache in your chest felt heavier than your body could carry. You didn't need someone perfect back then. You needed someone real. Someone who could sit beside you in the storm, not trying to fix it, but simply being present. Someone who wouldn't turn away from your tears or try to hurry your healing. You longed for a presence that didn't judge, didn't preach, but just held space for you to fall apart and find your way again. That longing was not wasted. It planted something deep inside you, a quiet, powerful desire to become what you once needed. Pain can destroy, yes, but it can also transform. It can build something sacred inside of you if you let it. The heartbreak that brought you to your knees, the loneliness that echoed in your chest, the confusion that clouded your mind, they were all shaping you. And now when you feel that familiar pull to turn away from someone else's pain, remember who you once were. Remember what it meant to have no one and choose differently. You don't need grand gestures to turn your pain into purpose. Sometimes it's just listening when someone is too ashamed to speak. It's seeing people in their mess and not asking them to clean up before they're worthy of love. It's holding out your hand without expecting them to take it, but keeping it there just in case. Every time you show up for someone with the gentleness you once craved, you're becoming that person you needed. Your purpose isn't hidden in some distant calling. It's wrapped up in the very things that once broke you. You know what silence feels like, so now you become the voice that speaks life. You know what abandonment feels like, so now you become the one who stays. You know what being misunderstood felt like, so now you offer understanding before you offer advice. That is the power of turning pain into purpose. It doesn't just heal you, it begins to heal others too. And the beauty is, you don't have to be fully healed to do this. You just have to be willing. Willing to take what hurt you and let it make you softer, stronger, kinder. That is the kind of becoming that changes the world, not all at once, but one heart at a time, starting with your own. Let the person you needed back then guide the person you're becoming now. There was a time when all you needed was a gentle word, a patient heart, someone who wouldn't rush you to be okay. But instead, the world often felt impatient, cold, and dismissive. In your brokenness, you were made to feel like a burden, as if healing had a deadline and pain was something shameful. You didn't need someone to fix you. You needed someone to sit quietly, someone to sit your wounds without flinching, someone to love you as you were, not as you were expected to be. And now, as you rise from the place where you once lay shattered, you are offered a sacred chance to be that someone for others and for yourself. To offer the love you once reached for is a quiet act of courage. It means holding space even when the world rushes by. It means remembering how it felt when you longed for someone to understand and deciding to show up differently. You remember the sting of being told to move on before you were ready. You remember what it felt like to smile through the pain just to make others comfortable. So now, you choose to hold love without conditions, without timelines, without pressure. You choose to meet others with open arms because you know what it meant to be met with closed doors. Patience is not weakness. It's one of the strongest forms of love there is. It says, take your time. I'll still be here. And that's what you needed when you were broken. Not solutions, not platitudes, just presence. Just someone who could sit beside your sorrow and not flinch. So now, when someone around you stumbles, you don't rush to pull them to their feet. You offer your hand, your silence, your understanding, because that's what you wished someone had done for you. To become the person you needed means to recognize love as something deeper than words. It's in the small gestures, the slow breath, the patient ear, the quiet affirmation that someone is enough, even in their undoing. The world needs more of that, not more people telling others to stay strong, but more people whispering, you're allowed to be weak, and I won't leave. And as you become that person for others, remember to be that person for yourself, too. Be patient with your process. Be tender with your healing. Offer yourself the same grace you wish someone had offered when you were lost. Because love isn't just something you give, it's something you build inside. And that love, the one shaped by your own brokenness, becomes the most powerful kind of healing. Offer that love without waiting to be asked. Be the presence, the comfort, the safety you once prayed for. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes from surviving what was meant to break you. It doesn't shout, it doesn't boast, it just stands soft but steady, gentle but firm. The world often teaches us to wear our strength like armor, to hide our wounds, to pretend we were never hurt at all. But you know better now. You know that true strength is not in covering your scars, but in letting them breathe and letting them speak without shame. Because your scars don't make you less whole. They prove that you endured, that you felt deeply, that you healed in pieces and still chose to live. When you were broken, what you needed most wasn't someone who looked perfect from the outside. You needed someone who wasn't afraid to show that they too had been through the fire and still carried the warmth of it in their soul. You didn't need a savior. You needed someone who had fallen before and could sit beside you without trying to lift you out too quickly. Someone who didn't shrink from the weight of sorrow, who knew how to hold it without being consumed. Someone had to hold your heart to the weight without being consumed. And now that someone can be you, there's power in being the person who doesn't turn away from pain. Power in being the one who lets others cry without flinching, who hears without rushing to respond. You don't have to have all the answers. In fact, you didn't need answers when you were broken. You needed presence, a quiet, steady reminder that you weren't alone. So now, with every scar you've earned, with every moment you chose to keep going, you hold a kind of strength that the world doesn't always understand, but deeply needs. Let your scars be a sign not of damage, but of resilience. Let them be a language that speaks to those still hurting. You've walked through dark valleys and made it out, not untouched, but transformed. And now you carry the kind of empathy that can't be taught, only lived. You don't need to preach healing, you embody it. You don't need to shout hope, you live it. Your strength whispers instead of roars. And sometimes that whisper is the very thing that helps someone else hold on. This strength you've found is not just for show. It's for lifting others quietly, steadily, without needing recognition. It's for standing beside those who feel like they're falling, not to pull them out too soon, but to let them know they're not alone in their fall. Because you know that sometimes the greatest comfort is simply knowing someone else has survived. You've turned your scars into a language of compassion. Let them keep speaking. There were moments, perhaps more than you can count, when all you needed was to hear one kind, honest sentence. Words that could have wrapped around your weary spirit like a warm blanket. You didn't need a lecture. You didn't need advice. You needed someone to look you in the eye and say, "You matter," or "It's okay to feel like this." But those words never came, or if they did, they came too late, wrapped in pity or spoken with distance. That silence, that absence, carved a space inside you, and now you are the one who holds the power to fill it for others and for yourself. There is something holy about speaking the words you once needed to hear. Not loud, not for applause, but simply because you know what it's like to ache for them. The ones who are struggling rarely need someone to explain away their pain. They need someone who says, "You're not broken beyond repair," or "You don't have to be strong all the time," or even, "You're doing better than you think." Words that carry truth, not pressure. Words that breathe life instead of demanding more. When you speak from a place of experience, it doesn't just touch people, it moves them. Because your voice doesn't sound rehearsed, it sounds real. It sounds like someone who sat in the dark and knows how to describe the way out without pretending the dark doesn't still visit from time to time. That kind of voice, soft, honest, familiar, is what makes the difference between comfort and noise. You don't need to be a speaker, a writer, or a teacher to say what someone else needs to hear. You just need to be present, paying attention, willing to let your own story guide your tongue. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is something you once whispered to yourself just to survive. Sometimes it's as simple as "I believe in you," or "Take your time," or "You're not alone." They may seem small, but when someone is on the edge, those words become lifelines. And the truth is, you're not just saying those words for others. You're reminding yourself, too. Every time you speak gently to someone else, you echo back into your own spirit the love and understanding you once went without. Every time you pour out that kindness, you refill a place inside you that was once dry and empty. Be generous with those words. Speak them even when your voice shakes. Speak them especially when no one else is saying them. Let your voice carry what your younger self needed, and let that be your offering to a world still full of hurting hearts. You are the echo of the hope you once waited for. Let it ring. When you were at your lowest, when the world felt like it had turned its back and the walls seemed to close in, what you needed was not someone to judge or instruct. You needed someone to understand, someone who wouldn't tell you to get over it or be positive, but someone who would sit with your pain and see it for what it was. You needed someone who looked past the mask you wore and recognized the silent battles you were fighting. Someone who didn't speak from a pedestal, but from the same ground where you had fallen. You didn't need ego, you needed empathy. And now, as you rise from your broken places, you carry the kind of vision only those who've been in the dark can have. You see people differently now. You see their trembling hands, their quiet avoidance, their forced smiles. And you know you don't look at them with pity or pride. You look at them with the eyes of someone who's been there, someone who has felt the weight of invisible wounds and chosen to carry them with grace. To lead with empathy means to move through the world without the need to impress, without the need to control, without the need to compare. It means showing up not to be seen, but to truly see. You once longed to be seen, not for what you could do, but for who you were beneath the pain. So now you choose to do that for others. You lean in when others pull away. You ask real questions. You listen without planning your response. You become a safe place, not a performance. Ego wants to fix, to advise, to dominate, but empathy just wants to understand. And in that understanding, healing begins. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be willing to care. And that's where your brokenness becomes your strength, not in what it took from you, but in what it left behind. Compassion, tenderness, presence. You walk differently now, not with a need to be admired, but with a deep knowing that the most powerful thing you can be is kind. Not soft in a weak way, but soft in a way that melts walls and breaks chains. Your empathy is not passive. It's a quiet revolution. It's the act of standing beside someone and saying, I won't let you go through this alone. And the most beautiful part, you offer this empathy not because you were always given it, but because you weren't. Because you know what its absence feels like. You lead not with ego, but with the heart of someone who's walked through fire and came out not hardened, but lit from within. Be the one who chooses to see, truly see, because you know how it feels to be unseen. And so, as you continue on this journey of becoming, remember this: you are not defined by what broke you, but by what you chose to build from the broken pieces. You are the love you longed for, the voice you needed to hear, the strength you searched for in the silence. Every scar you carry is not a sign of weakness, but a reminder of survival. And now, with all that you've endured, you hold the power to be a light for someone else walking through their own darkness. You've become the person who shows up with grace, who speaks with truth, who listens with heart. You've chosen empathy over ego, softness over silence, and presence over performance. That is no small thing. That is becoming. That is healing. And the world needs more of it, more of you. So wherever you go from here, go with courage. Keep offering what you once needed. Keep walking in the truth of who you are becoming, because someone out there is waiting for the love, the patience, the strength, and the hope you now carry within you. Good luck on your journey, and thank you truly for becoming. Dear friends, imagine waking up each morning and seeing the reflection of someone who believes in you without condition, someone who lifts you when the world seems heavy, someone who whispers courage into the quiet spaces of your heart. That someone is you. To become your own best friend is to stand in the mirror and meet the soul that has carried you through storms, that has weathered pain, that has survived doubt. It is to honor yourself with patience, to speak kindly to the parts that falter, and to celebrate even the smallest victories as though they are great triumphs. We often search for affirmation in others, craving the warmth of approval or the comfort of company, forgetting that the truest companion we will ever know walks silently beside us through every trial and every joy. Becoming your own best friend is not a simple task. It asks of you honesty, resilience, and a tenderness for the wounds you hide from the world. It asks you to forgive yourself, not once but often, To understand that mistakes are lessons wrapped in the quiet cloak of experience. When loneliness presses its heavy hand against your chest, when doubts whisper that you are not enough, when the world seems determined to define your worth by standards that do not honor your spirit, you must turn inward. Sit with yourself. Listen. Offer the same compassion you would offer a child, a parent, a lover, a dear companion who has been walking in shadows. Speak gently. Encourage boldly. Hold your own hand and remind yourself that you are worthy, that you are brave, that you are deserving of love not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are. To be your own best friend is to celebrate your presence in the world. It is to dance with your dreams, even when fear tugs at your heels. It is to nurture the quiet parts that long for freedom, to plant seeds of joy, and let them bloom even in the soil of hardship. It is to laugh at yourself without shame, to cry without judgment, to rise without hesitation. You become a home for your spirit, a sanctuary where hope can dwell and courage can grow. To embrace self-compassion and forgive your own mistakes is to step into a relationship with yourself that is gentle, honest, and freeing. Life will inevitably place burdens upon your shoulders, moments where you stumble, falter, or fail. And in those moments, it is easy to fall into the trap of harsh judgment, to speak to yourself with words you would never offer to a friend you cherish. But imagine treating yourself with the same tenderness, the same patience, the same love that you would extend to someone you hold dear. Imagine meeting your own faults not with shame, but with understanding, with curiosity, with the recognition that imperfection is part of being human. Forgiving yourself begins with noticing how harshly you speak when you make a mistake. Do you replay the moment over and over in your mind, criticizing every choice, condemning every misstep? Or do you take a pause, breathe, and remind yourself that mistakes do not define your value, that they are simply moments of learning? Self-compassion is not a denial of responsibility. It is the courage to acknowledge that you are capable of growth, that the errors of today can become the wisdom of tomorrow. When you forgive yourself, you release the heavy weight of regret and create space for resilience and joy to flourish. The journey of self-forgiveness often asks you to sit with discomfort. It asks you to look squarely at your own behavior, to name what went wrong without collapsing into self-blame. This is not weakness, it is strength. It is the act of honoring your own humanity, understanding that to err is not a failure of character, but a step in the unfolding of your story. Every time you forgive yourself, you teach your soul to trust that you are capable of kindness, that you are worthy of care even when you stumble. You allow yourself to stand tall, not despite your mistakes, but alongside them, recognizing that they are threads in the tapestry of your life. Forgiving yourself also transforms the way you interact with the world. When you learn to treat yourself with compassion, you begin to extend that same understanding outward. You listen more deeply to others, you approach conflict with empathy, and you offer encouragement instead of judgment. Your relationship with yourself becomes the model for every other connection you cultivate. A heart that has learned forgiveness becomes a heart that can love fully, freely, without the chains of resentment or bitterness. It is important to remember that self-compassion is not a single act, but a practice, a daily conversation with your own spirit. It might look like pausing when you notice self-criticism creeping in, placing your hand over your heart and saying, "It is okay. I am learning. I am enough." It might look like writing a letter to yourself, acknowledging the struggles you face, and celebrating the courage it took to keep moving forward. It might look like sitting in quiet reflection, offering yourself the same understanding you give to a dear friend. These small, intentional gestures accumulate over time, weaving a fabric of trust and care between you and the person you are growing to love most yourself. Forgiving yourself is also an invitation to release comparison and embrace your unique journey. No one else's path is yours, and no one else's expectations can measure your worth. By offering yourself compassion, you stop punishing yourself for falling short of standards that are not truly yours. You allow your mistakes to teach rather than define you. You acknowledge that your journey is valuable, even in moments of uncertainty, even in times of struggle, because it is uniquely yours. In every step of this process, there is freedom. Freedom from self-recrimination, freedom from the weight of perfectionism, freedom to grow, to learn, and to live fully. To embrace self-compassion and forgive your own mistakes is to give yourself a gift that no one else can give. It is a quiet revolution in the heart, a declaration that you are worthy of love, worthy of patience, and worthy of understanding even when you stumble. By holding yourself with care, you plant seeds of resilience that will bloom into courage, joy, and the unwavering strength to face whatever life brings. So take a deep breath and offer yourself the grace you deserve. Forgive yourself not once, but often, and watch as the light of your own compassion transforms the way you move through the world. To celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, is to honor the journey of your life in its entirety. Often we are quick to acknowledge grand victories, to cheer for monumental accomplishments, to let applause fill the spaces of success that the world deems worthy. Yet in this rush, we overlook the quiet triumphs, the subtle steps forward, the moments of courage that do not make headlines but are no less significant. Every act of perseverance, every choice to rise after a fall, every effort to show up with integrity deserves recognition. By celebrating these achievements, you nurture your own spirit and cultivate a deep sense of self-worth that does not rely on external validation. The act of celebration begins with awareness. Notice the small victories that are woven into your days. Did you speak up when fear whispered doubt in your ear? Did you complete a task that required persistence and patience? Did you offer kindness when the world seemed unkind? These moments may appear ordinary, but they are extraordinary in the life you are building. Each is a testament to your strength, your determination, and your courage. To acknowledge them is to say to yourself, I see you. I honor your effort. I recognize the progress you have made. This is the essence of becoming your own best friend, offering recognition and praise where it is due without waiting for someone else to provide it. Celebrating your achievements also strengthens your resilience. When life challenges you, when setbacks occur, and when doubts cloud your vision, recalling your past victories, no matter how small, can provide the fuel to keep moving forward. It reminds you that you have overcome obstacles before, that you possess the inner resources to navigate difficulty, and that every step forward counts. By recognizing the value of each achievement, you cultivate confidence, a quiet assurance that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of growth and happiness. It is important to make the celebration tangible. Pause and allow yourself to feel the joy of your accomplishment. Speak words of acknowledgement aloud, write them in a journal, or simply smile and take a deep breath of gratitude. By marking these moments, you create memories of encouragement that can sustain you during times of doubt. You teach your mind and heart to notice progress rather than fixating solely on what remains unfinished. Over time, this practice builds a culture of self-recognition where achievements are celebrated as milestones along the path of personal growth, and where your inner voice becomes a source of encouragement rather than criticism. Celebrating small victories also deepens your connection to the present. So often, life becomes a race toward distant goals, leaving little room to savor the steps along the way. By pausing to honor what you have accomplished, You learn to dwell in the richness of each moment, to see the beauty in progress rather than perfection, and to acknowledge the effort, courage, and intention invested in every action. You begin to recognize that life is not only about the outcomes, but about the dedication, persistence, and heart you pour into the journey itself. Furthermore, celebrating your achievements fosters a sense of gratitude. Gratitude for your own resilience, gratitude for the opportunities to grow, and gratitude for the lessons learned through struggle. It transforms your relationship with yourself, shifting it from a lens of criticism to one of appreciation. When you celebrate, you are affirming your worth, acknowledging your capabilities, and nurturing the inner friendship that is essential for self-love. You are teaching yourself that your efforts matter, that your progress matters, and that you are deserving of acknowledgement in your own eyes. In learning to celebrate yourself, you also inspire those around you. A person who honors their own victories radiates confidence and positivity. They demonstrate that self-recognition is not arrogance, but a practice of love and respect for one's journey. By celebrating yourself, you encourage others to see the value in their own small victories and to cultivate a similar compassion for their personal growth. So take a moment each day to honor your achievements, no matter how small they may seem. Allow yourself the joy of recognition, the warmth of appreciation, and the quiet pride of knowing that every step forward is meaningful. In celebrating yourself, you cultivate a friendship with your own spirit that is unwavering, nurturing, and filled with gratitude for the journey you are courageously walking. To speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement daily is to build a sanctuary within your own heart, a place where your spirit feels safe, valued, and understood. Every day, life will challenge you with moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty. There will be days when your mind whispers that you are not enough, when mistakes feel monumental, and when the weight of expectations, both yours and others, threatens to crush your confidence. In those moments, the way you speak to yourself becomes the most important conversation you will ever have. Words have power. They shape perception, mold belief, and influence the choices we make. By choosing to speak kindly to yourself, you transform your inner dialogue into a source of strength rather than a well of despair. Speaking kindly to yourself begins with awareness. Notice the tone you use when thoughts of failure or inadequacy arise. Do you berate yourself for missing an opportunity, for making a misstep, or for feeling vulnerable? Do you replay errors over and over in your mind, exaggerating the impact of your shortcomings? To interrupt that cycle is to cultivate self-awareness and then replace harsh judgment with compassionate words. When you stumble, instead of saying, "I am useless," try, "I am learning, I am growing, I am capable of change." These words may feel unfamiliar at first, but with repetition, they become the foundation of a friendship with yourself that is unwavering and nurturing. Encouragement is equally vital. Speak to yourself as you would to someone you deeply care for. Remind yourself of your strengths, your past victories, and the courage that has carried you through difficult times. When challenges appear, instead of succumbing to fear, whisper affirmations that instill confidence. Tell yourself that you are resilient, that you are deserving of joy, and that you are capable of navigating whatever lies ahead. The voice inside you can either be a prison or a sanctuary. By choosing encouragement, you give your spirit permission to thrive, to take risks, and to pursue your dreams with unwavering determination. Kindness toward yourself is also about patience. You are not perfect, and neither is the journey you are on. Some days will feel heavier than others, and some steps forward will be smaller than you hoped. Speaking kindly means acknowledging your human limitations without condemnation. It means saying, "I am allowed to take my time. I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to feel. In these moments, your words become a balm, softening the harsh edges of doubt and nurturing the confidence that is always present beneath the fear. Daily practice is essential. This is not a one-time act, but a lifelong habit. Begin with small, intentional gestures. In the morning, offer yourself words of encouragement as you face the day. At night, reflect on your efforts and speak gratitude to yourself for the perseverance you displayed. When negativity creeps in, consciously replace it with a statement of support, a reminder of your worth, or an acknowledgement of the courage it took to keep moving forward. Over time, this dialogue reshapes your internal landscape, turning self-criticism into self-compassion and doubt into determination. Speaking kindly also strengthens resilience. Life will test you, and moments of disappointment and struggle are inevitable. But when you have cultivated a voice of encouragement within, you can face adversity with grace and courage. You can remind yourself that setbacks are temporary, that mistakes are lessons, and that your value is not tied to external outcomes. Kind words spoken to yourself become a lifeline, a source of strength that you can return to again and again. Moreover, daily kindness to yourself creates a ripple effect in your life. When you honor your own worth through words, you naturally extend patience, understanding, and compassion to others. You model the power of gentle encouragement and show that love and respect begin within. Speaking kindly to yourself is not selfish. It is the cornerstone of emotional health, the foundation of confidence, and the doorway to authentic connection with the world around you. So begin each day with words of kindness, nurture your spirit with encouragement, and speak to yourself as a treasured friend. Let your voice remind you of your resilience, your courage, and your beauty. In doing so, you cultivate a steadfast ally within your own heart, one who will never abandon you and who will always believe in your ability to rise. To trust your intuition and honor your inner voice is to step into a profound friendship with yourself, one that is rooted in deep listening, courage, and respect for your own wisdom. Life is filled with noise, opinions of others, societal expectations, and the constant rush of information that can cloud judgment and breed confusion. Amid this clamor, your intuition is the quiet, steady flame that guides you, the inner compass that knows what is true for you even when the world seems intent on leading you astray. To trust it is to give yourself permission to navigate life with authenticity, to follow a path that aligns with your soul, and to honor the truth that resides within. Trusting your intuition begins with stillness. In the business of life, it is easy to overlook the subtle nudges, the quiet whispers that your inner self offers. These moments often arrive when you pause, when you step away from distractions, and when you create space to listen without judgment. Your intuition may speak as a feeling in your gut, a gentle thought that surfaces in quiet reflection, or a sudden clarity that emerges when circumstances seem confusing. Recognizing these signals requires patience and presence. It requires the willingness to slow down and notice the guidance that your inner voice offers, even when it contradicts logic, habit, or the expectations of others. Honoring your inner voice is an act of courage. It often asks you to take paths that are less traveled, to make decisions that defy convention, or to stand alone when necessary. To listen is not always easy, for the world will challenge your choices and attempt to sow doubt. Yet your intuition is rooted in your truth, in the unique combination of your experiences, values, and dreams. By trusting it, you affirm that your perspective matters, that your insight is valid, and that you are capable of navigating life in a way that is authentic to you. Each time you honor your intuition, you strengthen the bond with yourself, reinforcing the trust that is essential to becoming your own best friend. To cultivate this trust, It is important to pay attention to patterns and lessons in your life. Notice when your inner voice has guided you correctly, when instincts have protected you, and when your heart has pointed you toward choices that led to growth and fulfillment. Celebrate these moments of alignment and reflect on how they feel. The more you acknowledge the accuracy and wisdom of your intuition, the more confident you become in relying on it. This does not mean ignoring reason or insight from others. It means balancing external guidance with the profound intelligence that resides within you, trusting that your inner voice will always bring clarity when you are open to hearing it. Listening to yourself also means embracing your emotions as guides. Emotions are often misunderstood as weaknesses or distractions, yet they are vital indicators of your inner truth. Joy, excitement, discomfort, and unease can all provide insight into what aligns with your values and what does not. When you pay attention to these signals, you honor your inner voice, recognizing that your feelings are a form of wisdom. They offer clarity about your desires, your boundaries, and your authentic path. To ignore them is to silence the dialogue with yourself that is essential for self-trust and self-respect. Trusting your intuition nurtures confidence and empowerment. When you follow the guidance of your inner self, you become less reliant on external validation, less swayed by doubt or criticism, and more grounded in your own decisions. You learn that your judgment is worthy, that your insight matters, and that you are capable of navigating life's complexities with grace. This empowerment strengthens your resilience, enabling you to face uncertainty with courage and to act decisively even when the path is unclear. Moreover, honoring your inner voice deepens your connection with your purpose. When you trust yourself, you are more attuned to the passions, values, and dreams that are uniquely yours. You make choices that align with your authentic self, cultivating a life that feels meaningful and true. You begin to recognize that the relationship you have with yourself, the trust, the listening, the honoring, is the foundation upon which every other relationship and achievement is built. So take time each day to listen, to reflect, and to honor the quiet guidance within. Trust your instincts, follow your heart, and let your inner voice lead you. In doing so, you strengthen the friendship with yourself, cultivating confidence, clarity, and the courage to live a life that is authentically your own. To set boundaries that protect your peace and well-being is to honor yourself in the most profound way, for it is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. Life is filled with demands from work, from family, from friends, from society, and often we find ourselves saying yes to everything, hoping to please, to be accepted, or to avoid conflict. Yet in doing so, we can lose sight of our own needs, our own energy, and our own joy. Boundaries are not walls to isolate you from the world. They are lines of clarity that define where you begin and where others end, allowing your spirit the space to breathe, grow, and thrive. Setting boundaries begins with awareness of your own limits. What drains you? What feels uncomfortable, heavy, or demanding? What do you need in order to feel safe, supported, and balanced? Reflecting honestly on these questions is the first step toward creating boundaries that serve your well-being. It is not selfish to recognize your limits. It is courageous. To honor them is to cultivate a friendship with yourself that prioritizes your mental, emotional, and physical health. When you understand what you need, you can communicate it clearly, calmly, and respectfully, establishing expectations that protect your energy without diminishing your compassion for others. Boundaries are also an act of empowerment. They give you permission to say no when something does not align with your values or when it threatens your peace. Saying no is not a rejection of others. It is a declaration of your own worth. It teaches those around you how to treat you and models a standard of respect that you expect for yourself. In setting these limits, you are telling yourself and the world that your time, energy, and spirit are valuable. You are affirming that your well-being matters and that it is not negotiable. Each time you uphold a boundary, you strengthen your confidence, deepen your self-trust, and reinforce the friendship you are cultivating with your own heart. It is important to remember that boundaries require practice and courage. At first, you may encounter resistance from yourself, from others, or even from the lingering voice of guilt that tells you to put everyone else first. Yet the discomfort is part of growth. The more consistently you honor your boundaries, the more natural it becomes to protect your peace. You learn that saying no can coexist with kindness, that caring for yourself does not mean neglecting others, and that the space you create for your own well-being benefits everyone around you because you bring your whole, centered self into every interaction. Boundaries are also intimately tied to self-awareness. They require you to listen to your inner voice, to notice when you feel overextended, and to act in alignment with your values rather than reacting out of obligation or fear. This practice deepens the friendship with yourself as you become more attuned to your needs and more confident in honoring them. It is a daily conversation with your own heart, reminding yourself that your well-being is worth protecting, that your energy is sacred, and that your presence in the world is most meaningful when it is nurtured, not depleted. The beauty of boundaries is that they create space for joy, creativity, and connection that is authentic. When you are not constantly stretched thin, when you are not weighed down by obligations that do not serve you, you can engage with life fully and wholeheartedly. Relationships become richer, work becomes more meaningful, and your own growth flourishes because you are operating from a place of integrity and balance. Boundaries are not limitations. They are the framework that allows your spirit to move freely, to rise resiliently, and to thrive in alignment with your deepest values. Ultimately, setting boundaries is an act of love for yourself. It is the recognition that your peace matters, that your energy is precious, and that your heart deserves protection. It is a declaration that you are your own best friend, that you will honor yourself, and that you will not compromise your well-being for the comfort or approval of others. By establishing clear, compassionate boundaries, you create a life that is centered, balanced, and deeply fulfilling. So take a stand for yourself, speak your truth with courage, and honor the boundaries that preserve your peace. In doing so, you cultivate a friendship with yourself that is unwavering, nurturing, and strong enough to carry you through every season of life. To spend quality time alone to nurture your passions and growth is to gift yourself the deepest form of friendship and understanding. In a world that constantly demands attention, connection, and productivity, solitude can feel uncomfortable or even intimidating. Yet it is in these quiet moments with yourself that your spirit finds clarity, your creativity is awakened, and your sense of self is strengthened. To be alone is not to be lonely. It is to create a space where your heart can breathe, your mind can reflect, and your soul can flourish. In these moments, you cultivate a friendship with yourself that is rooted in presence, curiosity, and love. Spending time alone begins with intention. It is a deliberate choice to step away from distraction, to silence the noise of expectations, and to focus on the whispers of your own heart. In this space, you can explore your passions without judgment, pursue interests that bring joy, and reflect on experiences that shape your growth. Perhaps it is reading a book that inspires your mind, writing down your thoughts to understand your emotions, or walking in nature to reconnect with your inner rhythm. These acts of self-investment are not indulgent, they are essential. They signal to yourself that you are worthy of attention, that your growth matters, and that your dreams deserve care and cultivation. Time alone also provides the clarity necessary to understand your values, desires, and goals. When you remove external pressures and distractions, you are able to listen to your inner voice more deeply. What truly matters to you? Which paths align with your authentic self? What dreams have been buried under the weight of obligation or comparison? In solitude, you have the freedom to answer these questions honestly, without interference. You honor the wisdom of your own intuition and allow your passions to guide your choices. This clarity strengthens your confidence and enables you to engage with the world from a place of authenticity rather than conformity. Nurturing your passions in solitude is a celebration of your individuality. It is an acknowledgement that your gifts, your creativity, and your unique talents are valuable and worthy of attention. By dedicating time to your passions, you affirm that your life is meaningful and that your contributions matter. Whether it is painting, writing, playing music, meditating, or exploring new ideas, these acts of creation and reflection deepen your connection with yourself. You learn to honor your rhythm, to embrace your curiosity, and to revel in the joy of discovery that arises when your spirit is given space to expand. Time alone also fosters emotional resilience and inner strength. Life is filled with challenges, disappointments, and moments of doubt. When you have cultivated a habit of solitude, you develop the ability to center yourself, to process your emotions, and to approach difficulties with calm and clarity. Being comfortable with your own company allows you to face uncertainty without panic, to reflect without judgment, and to make decisions that honor your well-being. You discover that you are your own sanctuary, capable of providing comfort, encouragement, and reassurance when the world feels chaotic or demanding. Spending quality time alone nurtures a deeper sense of self-love and self-acceptance. When you engage with yourself intentionally, you learn to appreciate your own presence, to recognize your growth, and to celebrate your individuality. You stop seeking validation solely from others and begin to derive fulfillment from the relationship you cultivate with yourself. This self-reliance does not isolate you. It strengthens your capacity to connect authentically with others, for you engage in relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness or dependency. In solitude, you also allow your creativity and imagination to flourish. Without external pressure or comparison, your mind can wander, explore, and innovate freely. Ideas that may have been suppressed or overlooked in the rush of daily life find expression. Your passions can take root, grow, and transform into meaningful action. You become both the gardener and the observer of your own inner landscape, learning to value the process of growth as much as the outcomes it produces. So dedicate time to yourself each day, to your passions, and to your inner growth. Step into solitude not as a form of isolation, but as a sacred practice of self, discovery, love, and empowerment. In nurturing your own spirit, you cultivate a friendship that is steadfast, joyous, and life-giving, one that will carry you through every season of your journey. To recognize that your worth is not defined by others' opinions is to embrace the freedom of self-respect and self-love, a freedom that transforms the way you move through life. Too often, we measure ourselves against the judgments, expectations, and comparisons imposed by the world around us. We look for validation in compliments, approval in applause, and acceptance in the approval of those whose standards are not ours to bear. Yet no external measure can capture the depth of your spirit, the courage of your journey, or the beauty of your unique presence. True worth is born from within, nurtured by the recognition of your own value, and the unwavering acknowledgement that you are enough exactly as you are. Understanding this begins with awareness of how often external opinions shape your self-perception. Notice the times you hesitate to pursue a dream because someone doubted you. Observe the moments you silence your voice because of fear of criticism. See how comparison to others can cloud your joy or diminish your confidence. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward liberation, for once you see the influence of others' judgments, you can choose to step outside their weight and reclaim the authority over your own sense of worth. Recognizing your intrinsic worth requires deliberate affirmation of yourself. It is a daily practice to remind yourself that you are valuable, not for what you achieve, how you look, or how others perceive you, but for the simple fact that you exist. Your life is a miracle, your experiences are meaningful, and your heart is capable of love, courage, and resilience. By affirming your value, you cultivate a foundation of confidence that no external voice can shake. You learn to stand firm in your own truth, to honor your journey, and to celebrate your existence with gratitude and pride. This recognition also calls for a compassionate release of judgment. Forgive yourself for moments when you allowed others' opinions to dictate your choices or diminish your joy. Release the habit of seeking constant approval and understand that it is not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of the limits of perception in others. By freeing yourself from the need for validation, you create space to explore your passions, nurture your growth, and pursue what truly matters to you. You cultivate a life guided by your values, desires, and inner wisdom rather than the fleeting judgments of the world. Recognizing your worth is deeply intertwined with self-respect. It means setting boundaries, honoring your needs, and refusing to accept treatment that diminishes your spirit. It is a declaration that your time, energy, and heart are valuable, and that you will protect them with care and courage. When you understand that your worth is inherent, you no longer bend to the pressures of comparison or conformity. Instead, you move through life with dignity, authenticity, and a quiet confidence that radiates from within. It is important to understand that this recognition is not arrogance or pride. It is humility paired with self-awareness, a gentle but firm acknowledgement of the value that resides within your own being. When you recognize your worth independent of others' opinions, you free yourself from the anxiety of judgment, the weight of expectation, and the drain of constant comparison. You are able to act from a place of love, purpose, and integrity, making choices that align with your heart rather than conforming to the shifting standards of society. This understanding also deepens your relationships with others. When you know your worth, you engage with people from a place of wholeness rather than neediness. You offer kindness without seeking approval, support without expectation, and presence without fear. You model self-respect and authenticity, inspiring those around you to recognize their own value and to embrace the freedom that comes from self-acceptance. Your worth becomes a quiet, unwavering light that guides not only your path but illuminates the journey of others. Recognizing your worth is a lifelong practice. Each day, remind yourself of your inherent value, speak kindly to your spirit, and resist the pull of external judgment. Celebrate your existence, honor your growth, and trust that the measure of your life is determined not by others, but by the depth of your courage, the sincerity of your love, and the authenticity with which you live. So embrace your worth with confidence, nurture your self-respect, and let the opinions of others pass without taking root. In doing so, you cultivate a friendship with yourself that is unwavering, empowering, and filled with the profound understanding that you are enough, always and completely. As we journey through the path of becoming our own best friend, we learn that the deepest source of strength, love, and courage resides within us. By embracing self-compassion, celebrating every achievement, speaking to ourselves with kindness, trusting our intuition, setting boundaries, nurturing our passions, And recognizing our worth independent of others' opinions, we cultivate a friendship that is steadfast, empowering, and life-giving. This friendship becomes our sanctuary, our guide, and our unwavering source of hope in every season of life. Remember, the relationship you build with yourself shapes the way you experience the world. Treat yourself with patience, honor your journey, and celebrate the beauty that is uniquely yours. Let your inner voice be gentle, encouraging, and bold. When you do this, you unlock a freedom that no external circumstance can take away, a freedom to live authentically, courageously, and joyfully. May you continue to walk this path with grace. May your spirit always feel nurtured and supported. And may the friendship you cultivate with yourself light the way for every dream you choose to follow. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for allowing yourself the courage to invest in the most important relationship of all, the one you have with your own heart. Good evening, friends. Today I want to speak about something vital, the fire within each of us, that burning, unquenchable flame we call ambition. Not a quiet longing, not a polite desire, but an all-consuming drive to be more, to do more, and to leave behind something extraordinary. To claim your space is to stand firmly and unapologetically in the world, declaring, I deserve to be here. It means acknowledging your worth, your talents, and your contributions without hesitation or doubt. Far too often, society conditions us, especially those who feel marginalized or unheard, to believe that we must shrink ourselves to fit into predefined molds. But the truth is, the world doesn't need more people fitting in. It needs more people breaking barriers, setting new standards, and creating a better future. Claiming your space begins with self-awareness. You must understand that your existence, your dreams, and your voice are just as important as anyone else's. This is not about arrogance. It is about self-respect. It's about rejecting the false narratives that tell you to wait for permission to be great. No one owns the right to limit your potential, not society, not your circumstances, and certainly not your own fear. It also means letting go of the fear of rejection or failure. Yes, stepping forward will come with challenges. People may question your intentions, doubt your capabilities, or criticize your decisions. But let me ask you this. Why should someone else's opinion have more weight than your own vision? Why should the fear of what if keep you from reaching for what could be? When you claim your space, you're not just taking something for yourself. You're giving permission for others to do the same. You're showing your family, your community, and the world that it is possible to live fully and boldly, even in the face of adversity. Your courage has a ripple effect. Every time you refuse to shrink, you make it easier for someone else to stand tall. Claiming your space also means setting boundaries. It requires saying no to things that don't serve your purpose and yes to the opportunities that align with your ambition. It means being unafraid to walk away from places, people, or situations that ask you to compromise your values or suppress your dreams. To claim your space is to plant your feet firmly on the ground and say, I will not be moved. To word verse. Understand that your space doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It doesn't have to conform to societal expectations or cultural norms. Your space is uniquely yours, crafted by your experiences, shaped by your dreams, and fueled by your passion. Own it fully. Fill it with your truth, your energy, and your brilliance. Finally, remember that claiming your space is not a one-time act. It's a continuous journey. Every day, in every choice you make, you must reaffirm your decision to live authentically and unapologetically. Some days it will feel natural. Other days it will feel like an act of rebellion. But every step you take toward claiming your space is a step toward building the life you deserve. So go ahead, take up the room you need to grow, to learn, and to thrive. Speak loudly, act boldly, and shine brightly. This world is vast, but it is incomplete without your presence. Claim your space, because no one else can do it for you, and no one else can do it like you. To embrace the struggle is to recognize that challenges are not obstacles to your growth, but essential elements of it. Struggle shapes you, refines you, and reveals the strength you didn't know you possessed. It is through struggle that you become the person capable of achieving the dreams you hold so dear. The truth is, every worthwhile pursuit comes with its share of difficulties. And the sooner you embrace this reality, the more resilient you become. Struggle is not a sign of weakness or failure. It is a mark of courage. It takes immense bravery to step into the unknown, to risk failure in pursuit of something greater than yourself. When you face adversity, it is easy to feel like the universe is working against you. But in reality, those struggles are the tools that carve you into who you are meant to be. Like a diamond formed under pressure or gold refined by fire, struggle is the process that transforms your potential into power. Embracing the struggle means shifting your mindset. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Every setback carries a lesson, every hardship an opportunity to grow. Sometimes the lesson is patience. Sometimes it's resilience, discipline, or the ability to adapt. Whatever the case, each struggle leaves you stronger and wiser than you were before. To embrace the struggle also means rejecting the idea of instant gratification. We live in a world that celebrates overnight success, but real success, the kind that endures, is rarely instantaneous. It is built over time, brick by brick, through moments of doubt, frustration, and perseverance. Understand that the struggle is not a detour, it is the path. The effort you put in today, no matter how difficult, is laying the foundation for the life you want tomorrow. Struggles are also deeply personal. What challenges you may not challenge someone else, and that's okay. Your journey is unique, and so are the battles you face. Comparing your struggles to someone else's will only rob you of the opportunity to grow in your own way. Instead, focus on your journey, your lessons, and your progress. Another crucial aspect of embracing the struggle is learning to find meaning in the pain. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You can choose to see your struggles as a burden, or you can choose to see them as a gift. A chance to discover your strength, to connect with others who share similar experiences, and to prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. This shift in perspective doesn't make the struggle easier, but it makes it purposeful. When you embrace the struggle, you also embrace your imperfections. You stop expecting yourself to get everything right on the first try. You allow yourself to fail, to stumble, and to start again. Perfection is a myth. Progress is the goal. Every small victory, every lesson learned, and every step forward is a triumph worth celebrating. Embracing the struggle means refusing to give up. There will be moments when the weight feels unbearable, when the temptation to quit whispers in your ear. In those moments, remind yourself of your why. Why did you start this journey? What is the dream you're fighting for? Let that vision pull you forward when your strength is running low. Remember, even the darkest nights end with a dawn, and your perseverance will lead you to brighter days. Embrace the struggle, not as something to fear, but as something to honor. Wear your scars like badges of courage, for they are proof of your resilience. Trust the process. Even when it feels messy and uncertain, every struggle you face is a step toward the person you are becoming, and that person is worth every ounce of effort. Rejecting smallness is about refusing to live a life that is less than what you are capable of. It is a conscious decision to abandon the habits, thoughts, and behaviors that keep you from stepping into your full potential. Far too often, we are conditioned to stay small, whether by fear, societal expectations, or our own insecurities. But rejecting smallness is an act of self-liberation, a declaration that you are worthy of occupying space, being heard, and making an impact. Smallness doesn't mean humility. It means limiting yourself. True humility is knowing your worth while staying grounded. But smallness is shrinking back, diminishing your value, and settling for less than you deserve. Rejecting smallness requires you to challenge the mindset that says, I'm not enough, I don't deserve this, or who am I to aim higher? These thoughts are chains that keep you confined to mediocrity. Break them. To reject smallness, you must first recognize its forms. Smallness often manifests in self-doubt, procrastination, and the fear of failure. It whispers to you that it's safer to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid risks, and to play it safe. But the truth is, comfort zones are prisons disguised as sanctuaries. They may feel safe, but they keep you from growing, learning, and becoming the person you were meant to be. Rejecting smallness means giving yourself permission to dream bigger and aim higher. It means setting goals that scare you a little and excite you a lot. When you reject smallness, you stop making decisions based on fear and start making them based on possibility. You stop settling for a life that feels manageable and start reaching for a life that feels meaningful. But rejecting smallness is not just about ambition, it's also about action. Dreams without action remain fantasies. To reject smallness, you must take bold, decisive steps toward your goals, even when the path feels uncertain. You must be willing to put yourself out there, risk failure, and learn as you go. Growth never happens without discomfort, but every step you take outside your comfort zone is a step toward the life you deserve. Rejecting smallness also requires you to surround yourself with the right people. Too often we stay small because we are surrounded by voices that encourage it. These may be people who mean well but project their fears onto us, or those who feel threatened by our potential. To truly reject smallness, you must seek out people who uplift you, challenge you, and inspire you to be your best self. Choose to walk alongside those who celebrate your victories and push you to reach for more. One of the hardest parts of rejecting smallness is learning to silence your inner critic, that voice inside your head that tells you you're not talented enough, smart enough, or deserving enough. It's not the truth. It's a narrative you've been conditioned to believe. Challenge it. Replace self-doubt with self-affirmation. Speak to yourself with the same kindness and encouragement you would offer a dear friend. Remember, the way you talk to yourself shapes the way you show up in the world. Rejecting smallness doesn't mean chasing perfection. It means striving for authenticity. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room or the most accomplished person in the world. It's about showing up as the fullest, truest version of yourself. It's about living in alignment with your values, pursuing your passions, and embracing the unique gifts you bring to the table. Finally, rejecting smallness is about understanding your impact. When you play small, you not only rob yourself of a fulfilling life, but you also rob the world of your potential. Your talents, your ideas, and your contributions matter. By rejecting smallness and stepping into your greatness, you inspire others to do the same. You become a living testament to what is possible when we refuse to settle. So, reject smallness in all its forms. Refuse to shrink for the comfort of others, to settle for less than you deserve, or to let fear dictate your choices. Step boldly into the fullness of your potential, knowing that you are worthy of greatness. The world needs your light. your voice, and your courage. Don't keep them hidden. Reject smallness and watch how your life transforms. To inspire others is to live in a way that lights a path for those around you. It's not about seeking applause or recognition. It's about being a source of strength, hope, and encouragement for others as they navigate their own journeys. True inspiration comes from authenticity, resilience, and the willingness to share your story, struggles, and triumphs. It is a ripple effect that starts with you, but reaches far beyond anything you might imagine. Inspiring others begins with your actions. People are moved by what they see, not just by what they hear. When you show up with courage, integrity, and passion, you model what is possible. Every time you push past a challenge, pursue a dream, or rise after a setback, you silently tell others, you can do this too. Inspiration is contagious, and your willingness to strive for your best self invites others to do the same. One of the most powerful ways to inspire others is by being authentic. People connect deeply with honesty and vulnerability because it reflects their own human experience. No one is inspired by perfection. It feels unattainable and distant. But when you share your struggles, your fears, and how you overcame them, you remind others that they are not alone. You become a living example of perseverance, showing that even the most daunting obstacles can be overcome with determination and effort. Inspiration also comes from kindness and empathy. When you take the time to understand someone else's perspective, to listen without judgment, and to offer encouragement, you plant seeds of hope. A kind word, a helping hand, or a moment of genuine care can have a profound impact on someone's life, often far more than you realize. Remember, inspiring others doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness leave the biggest impression. Another critical aspect of inspiring others is showing resilience in the face of adversity. Life will throw challenges your way, but how you respond to them speaks volumes. When you choose to rise after a fall, when you persist despite the odds, you demonstrate the strength of the human spirit. People are inspired by those who refuse to give up, who face their fears head on, and who turn setbacks into stepping stones. Your resilience reminds others that they too have the power to keep going, no matter how tough life gets. And inspiring others often means stepping out of your comfort zone and leading by example. This doesn't mean you have to be in a position of authority or have a platform. It means taking initiative and being brave enough to act on what you believe in. Whether it's advocating for a cause you care about, pursuing a seemingly impossible dream, or simply standing up for what's right, your boldness can ignite courage in those who witness it. One of the most overlooked ways to inspire others is by recognizing their potential. People often fail to see the greatness within themselves until someone else points it out. Be that person. Encourage those around you to pursue their dreams, take risks, and believe in their abilities. Sometimes, a single word of encouragement can change the trajectory of someone's life. By uplifting others, you create a ripple effect of positivity and empowerment. Inspiration also lies in how you handle success. When you achieve your goals, share your journey, the hard work, the sacrifices, and the lessons learned. Let others see that success is not about luck, but about persistence and growth. And when you reach the top of your mountain, don't forget to extend a hand to those still climbing. Use your influence to create opportunities, share resources, and open doors for others. Finally, remember that inspiring others is not about perfection or constant positivity. It's about being real, staying committed to your values, and leading with your heart. Inspiration isn't a one-time act, it's a way of living. It's about leaving a legacy, not through the things you acquire, but through the lives you touch and the hearts you uplift. To inspire others, you must first believe in yourself, embrace your unique journey, trust in your abilities, and live boldly. As you shine, you give others permission to shine too. The world is hungry for hope, courage, and kindness. Be the one who provides it. Because when you inspire others, you don't just change their lives, you transform your own in the process. Defining your success is the process of shaping your own vision of what a fulfilling and meaningful life looks like on your terms. It is about rejecting society's cookie-cutter ideas of achievement and crafting a definition that reflects your unique values, passions, and goals. Success isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. It is deeply personal, and it varies from one individual to another. Far too often, we are conditioned to equate success with external markers like wealth, status, or titles. While these may be meaningful to some, they are not universal. The danger of adopting someone else's definition of success is that it can lead to an unfulfilled life. You might achieve everything society deems as successful and still feel empty because those achievements don't resonate with your true self. Defining your success begins with self-reflection. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? What brings me joy? What kind of life do I want to live? These questions help you uncover your core values, which should be the foundation of your personal definition of success. For some, success might mean building a thriving career, while for others, it could mean nurturing a loving family, traveling the world, or making a difference in their community. There's no right or wrong answer. There's only what's right for you. When you define your success, it's also essential to consider your passions. What excites you? What makes you lose track of time? Success becomes far more meaningful when it aligns with the things that set your soul on fire. Whether it's creating art, solving complex problems, or helping others, your passions are a compass pointing you toward a life of purpose. Another critical aspect of defining your success is setting boundaries. You have to learn to say no to pursuits, expectations, or obligations that don't align with your vision. This can be difficult, especially when faced with pressure from family, peers, or society. However, staying true to your definition of success requires courage and conviction. You can't live someone else's dream and expect to feel fulfilled. Success is not only about the destination, it's also about the journey. It's about the growth, resilience, and learning that happen along the way. When you define success for yourself, you can take pride in every step forward, no matter how small. You stop comparing yourself to others and start focusing on your own progress. This shift in perspective allows you to find joy in the process rather than waiting for some distant endpoint. It's also important to remember that your definition of success can evolve. Life is not static, and neither are your goals or priorities. What felt like success 10 years ago may not hold the same meaning today. Give yourself permission to redefine success as you grow, learn, and gain new perspectives. Flexibility is key to staying aligned with what truly matters to you. Defining your success also requires you to embrace balance. While ambition and hard work are important, true success encompasses all areas of life: emotional well-being, relationships, health, and personal growth. If you achieve career milestones but neglect your health or relationships, are you truly successful? A holistic view of success ensures that your achievements contribute to a fulfilling and well-rounded life. Defining your success means owning your story. Don't let others dictate what success should look like for you. Be unapologetic about pursuing a life that aligns with your values and dreams, even if it looks different from what others expect. Your success doesn't have to be grand or flashy. It just has to feel right to you. At its core, success is about living authentically and meaningfully. It's about finding joy in your daily life, contributing to something greater than yourself, and being proud of the person you're becoming. When you define your success, you take control of your life and create a path that feels true to who you are, and that is the greatest success of all. To live unapologetically is to embrace your true self without fear, shame, or the need for validation from others. It is about stepping into your power, owning your story, and honoring your unique journey. Living unapologetically doesn't mean being reckless or dismissive of others. It means living authentically, on your terms, while remaining respectful of the world around you. We dim our light to make others comfortable. We silence our opinions, hide our talents, or conform to expectations that don't align with who we are. Living unapologetically requires you to break free from these limitations. It's about saying, "This is who I am, and I will not apologize for it." Living unapologetically starts with self-acceptance. To live fully, you must first embrace every part of yourself, your strengths, your quirks, your passions, and even your flaws. Authenticity is magnetic because it's real. When you stop pretending to be someone you're not, you allow yourself to connect with the world in a deeper, more meaningful way. You give yourself the freedom to explore your dreams and passions without the weight of others' expectations holding you back. Authenticity also requires courage. It's not always easy to stand out or to go against the grain, but your unique perspective is your superpower. No one else sees the world the way you do, and no one else can offer what you have to give. When you live unapologetically, you stop hiding your gifts and start sharing them boldly with the world. Living unapologetically means releasing the need to please everyone. This doesn't mean disregarding others' feelings or being unkind. It means recognizing that your worth is not tied to anyone else's opinion. You will never be able to please everyone, and trying to do so will only leave you exhausted and unfulfilled. Instead, focus on living a life that feels true to you. The right people, the ones who genuinely care about you, will support and celebrate you for who you are. Letting go of people-pleasing also means setting boundaries. You have the right to say no to things that drain you or don't align with your values. Boundaries protect your time, energy, and peace of mind. They are an essential part of living unapologetically because they allow you to prioritize what truly matters to you. To live unapologetically is to give yourself permission to chase your dreams and follow your passions, no matter how unconventional they may be. Society often tries to fit us into predefined roles or paths, but those paths may not align with your purpose. Living unapologetically means trusting your instincts and being bold enough to create your own path, even if it looks different from what others expect. Pursuing your passions also means embracing failure as part of the journey. When you live unapologetically, you stop fearing failure because you understand that it's a stepping stone to growth. You take risks, learn from mistakes, and keep moving forward, knowing that every step, no matter how challenging, brings you closer to your goals. Living unapologetically means having the courage to speak your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Your voice matters, and your perspective deserves to be heard. Speak with confidence, share your ideas, and stand up for what you believe in. Your truth is valid, and expressing it allows you to live authentically. Speaking your truth also means being honest with yourself. Acknowledge your desires, fears, and needs without judgment. Self-awareness is a cornerstone of living unapologetically because it empowers you to make choices that align with your true self. Shame and regret are heavy burdens that keep you from living freely. To live unapologetically, you must let go of the past and forgive yourself for any mistakes you've made. Every experience, even the painful ones, has shaped who you are today. Embrace your journey and recognize that your past does not define you, it empowers you. By releasing shame and regret, you free yourself to live fully in the present and pursue your future with confidence. When you live unapologetically, you become a source of inspiration for others. Your courage to be yourself gives others permission to do the same. You show them that it's okay to dream big, take risks, and embrace their true selves. Living unapologetically is not just about you. It's about creating a ripple effect of authenticity and empowerment in the world. Hey everyone, good evening. Today we will explore the beauty which is more attractive than physical appearance. When we think of beauty, what comes to mind? Is it flawless skin, perfect features, or a body that meets the ever-changing standards of society? Too often we are told that beauty is something seen with the eyes, but I stand before you today to remind you that the truest form of beauty is felt. It is the kindness in your heart, the strength in your soul, and the way you make others feel. Beauty is not measured in inches, pounds, or the symmetry of a face. It is measured in the warmth of a smile that lifts someone's spirit. It is found in the wisdom of those who have lived, loved, and lost, yet still rise with grace. It is in the unwavering resilience of a person who faces hardships but refuses to let them dim their light. When we hear the word beauty, our minds often drift to images of flawless skin, symmetrical features, and the polished perfection that society endlessly promotes. From billboards to magazine covers, we are constantly bombarded with a narrow definition of beauty, one that is tied to physical appearance, youth, and external validation. But if we pause for a moment and look beyond the surface, we begin to realize that beauty is not something that can be measured in inches, pounds, or the reflection in a mirror. True beauty is not seen with the eyes alone. It is felt, experienced, and remembered in the hearts of those who encounter it. True beauty comes from within. It is found in the way a person carries themselves with confidence, in the kindness they extend to others, and in the warmth of their spirit. A beautiful person is not just someone with striking features, but someone whose heart shines so brightly that it illuminates the world around them. It is the person who uplifts others with their words, who spreads love without expectation, and who chooses to be a source of light even in the darkest times. A truly beautiful person does not seek validation from society's changing standards. They do not measure their worth by the number of likes on a photo or the approval of strangers. Instead, they understand that real beauty is built on self-acceptance, self-love, and the way they make others feel. Think about the people in your life who have left a lasting impression on you. Was it because of the way they looked, or was it because of the kindness they showed, the wisdom they shared, or the way they made you feel valued? The most beautiful people are those who radiate love, generosity, and compassion. They make others feel safe, seen, and understood. They are not afraid to be vulnerable, to share their struggles, or to lift others up when they are down. Beauty is also found in resilience. A person who has endured pain but still chooses to love, who has been broken but still chooses to heal, is more beautiful than any model on a magazine cover. There is beauty in the mother who sacrifices for her children, in the elder whose wrinkles tell stories of laughter and survival, and in the friend who stands by you in times of need. Society may tell us that beauty fades with age, but I argue that it only deepens. The lines on our faces, the scars on our skin, and the wisdom in our eyes are marks of a life well lived. They are reminders of our experiences, our lessons, and our strength. True beauty is not in being flawless, it is in being real, authentic, and unapologetically yourself. So let us shift our perspective. Let us stop chasing a version of beauty that is temporary and instead embrace the beauty that lasts forever. The beauty of a kind heart, a strong spirit, and a soul that shines from within. Because when all is said and done, people will not remember you for the way you looked. They will remember you for the way you made them feel. And that is the most beautiful thing of all. Beauty is often associated with youth, perfection, and external appearances. But true beauty is not something that fades with time, nor is it something that can be measured by superficial standards. Real beauty is found in strength and resilience, the ability to rise after a fall, to persevere through hardships, and to stand tall even when life tries to break you. When we think of someone truly beautiful, we may not immediately picture a person with flawless features. Instead, we recall individuals whose spirits have been tested by life's storms yet remain unshaken. These are the people who have been through pain but have not let it define them. They are the ones who carry their scars not as marks of defeat, but as symbols of survival. Their beauty is not found in their outward appearance, but in their inner light, the unwavering fire that refuses to be extinguished. Resilience is beauty because it tells a story of endurance. A person who has walked through the fire of adversity and emerged stronger carries a radiance that cannot be manufactured. It is the single mother who works tirelessly to provide for her children, the survivor who refuses to let their past dictate their future, the dreamer who has faced rejection but continues to pursue their goals. These individuals exude a kind of beauty that cannot be applied with makeup or captured in a photograph. It is a beauty that comes from within, shaped by struggle and strengthened by perseverance. There is something breathtaking about a person who refuses to give up. When we see someone who has faced unimaginable difficulties yet continues to push forward with hope, we are reminded of the power of the human spirit. Strength is not about never feeling pain. It is about feeling it, embracing it, and using it as fuel to keep going. Resilience is about standing back up every time life knocks you down, knowing that every struggle is shaping you into something greater. Society often celebrates effortless perfection, but the truth is, beauty is most profound when it carries depth. A person who has suffered loss, heartbreak, and disappointment, yet still chooses to love, to smile, and to keep moving forward, embodies the essence of beauty. Their resilience becomes a beacon of inspiration, showing others that no matter how difficult life gets, there is always a way to rise again. Some of the most beautiful people are those who have turned their pain into purpose. They use their struggles to help others, to spread kindness, and to make the world a better place. They understand that every challenge they have faced has made them stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Their beauty is not just in their ability to endure, but in their willingness to keep shining despite the darkness they have faced. Strength and resilience shape beauty because they reflect the soul's ability to heal, to grow, and to transform. They remind us that real beauty is not found in perfection, but in the courage to embrace imperfection. It is in the person who has cried but still finds the strength to smile, who has fallen but refuses to stay down, who has been broken but still believes in love. So let us celebrate this kind of beauty, the beauty of those who have faced life's storms and refuse to let them steal their light. Because in the end, it is not the absence of struggle that makes a person beautiful, but the way they rise from it, stronger, wiser, and more radiant than before. Words and actions have the power to shape the world around us. They can build or break, heal or wound, uplift or destroy. What we say and do leaves a lasting imprint, not just on others, but on ourselves as well. True beauty is not just about appearance. It is found in the way we use our words to inspire, in the way we extend kindness through our actions, and in the impact we leave on the hearts of those we encounter. Think about a time when someone's words lifted you out of a dark place. Maybe it was a simple compliment that brightened your day, a word of encouragement that gave you the strength to keep going, or a heartfelt apology that mended a broken relationship. Words have immense power. They can offer hope in moments of despair and give strength when everything seems lost. On the other hand, words can also cause pain. A cruel remark, a careless insult, or words spoken in anger can leave wounds that take years to heal. Many of us still carry the weight of words spoken to us long ago, words that made us feel small, unworthy, or unloved. This is why we must be mindful of what we say, because our words have the ability to either build someone up or break them down. But words alone are not enough. True beauty is also reflected in our actions. It is easy to say we care, but our actions prove whether those words are genuine. A person's beauty is seen in the way they treat others, not just in moments of comfort, but in times of challenge. Do they offer kindness when it is inconvenient? Do they stand up for those who have no voice? Do they show love even when there is nothing to gain? Every day we have the opportunity to use our words and actions to make a difference. A simple act of kindness, such as helping someone in need, listening without judgment, or offering a word of encouragement, can create ripples that extend far beyond what we see. Often the smallest gestures have the greatest impact. A warm smile, a reassuring hug, or a thoughtful word can change someone's entire day, and sometimes even their life. History has shown us the incredible power of words and action. Leaders have used their voices to bring about change, to fight for justice, and to inspire millions. But at the same time, we have also seen how words filled with hatred can divide people, incite violence, and destroy nations. This reminds us that our words and actions carry responsibility. We must choose them wisely, knowing that they shape not just our personal relationships, but the world we live in. Beauty is not just about how we look, but about how we make others feel. A person may have the most stunning appearance, but if their words are cruel and their actions are selfish, that beauty fades quickly. On the other hand, someone whose words bring comfort, whose actions show kindness, and whose presence spreads love will always be remembered as truly beautiful. So let us be mindful of our words and intentional in our action. Let us use our voices to uplift, to encourage, and to bring light where there is darkness. Let us act with kindness, integrity, and love, because in the end, people may forget what you said or did, but they will never forget how you made them feel, and that is where true beauty lies. In a world obsessed with youth, aging is often seen as something to fear, something to resist at all costs. Advertisements flood us with products that promise to erase wrinkles, tighten skin, and turn back the clock. Society tells us that beauty is reserved for the young, that growing older means losing value, and that we must fight against the natural passage of time. But the truth is, aging does not diminish beauty, it deepens it. Real beauty is not found in the absence of lines on our faces, but in the richness of the stories they tell. Every wrinkle is a chapter of a life well lived. They are the laughter lines from years of joy, the creases from worries that have passed, the marks of experiences that have shaped who we are. Each gray hair is a thread of wisdom, a reflection of lessons learned, of battles fought, and of resilience gained. There is a beauty in aging that cannot be replicated by youth, for it is a beauty that comes from depth, understanding, and authenticity. When we are young, beauty is often tied to perfection, smooth skin, bright eyes, and an energetic glow. But as we grow older, we come to realize that true beauty is not about perfection, it is about character. The most beautiful people are not necessarily those who have avoided aging, but those who have embraced it with grace, confidence, and self-acceptance. They radiate a kind of beauty that is not fleeting, but everlasting. Think about the elders in your life, your grandparents, mentors, or community leaders. What makes them beautiful? Is it their skin, their figure, or their hair? Or is it the wisdom they share, the warmth they offer, and the strength they embody? Aging enhances beauty because it strips away the superficial and reveals what truly matters. It allows a person's soul to shine through, unburdened by the need to prove anything to the world. With age comes a deeper understanding of life. There is a certain confidence that comes with growing older, the confidence of knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what truly matters. When we are young, we often chase beauty through external validation, but as we age, we begin to see that beauty is not about seeking approval. It is about self-acceptance. It is about embracing every part of ourselves, including the changes that come with time. Aging also enhances beauty by shifting our focus from appearance to impact. We begin to value kindness over attractiveness, wisdom over fleeting trends, and depth over superficiality. The most beautiful people are those who use their experiences to uplift others, who share their wisdom generously, and who carry themselves with dignity and grace. And let us not forget the beauty of freedom that comes with aging. When we are young, we are often trapped by expectations, how we should look, what we should achieve, who we should be. But as we grow older, we shed those expectations and embrace the freedom to be unapologetically ourselves. There is a beauty in a person who no longer seeks to impress, but instead seeks to live fully, love deeply, and leave a meaningful impact on the world. So instead of fearing aging, let us celebrate it. Let us wear our wrinkles as badges of honor, our gray hairs as crowns of wisdom, and our life experiences as testaments to our strength. Let us redefine beauty not as something that fades, but as something that grows richer with time, because aging does not take away beauty. It enhances it, refines it, and makes it all the more powerful. In the end, beauty is not about how young you look. It is about how fully you have lived. It is about the love you have given, the wisdom you have shared, and the legacy you leave behind. And that is a kind of beauty that no wrinkle or gray hair can ever diminish. In a world that constantly tells us we need to be different, thinner, younger, taller, smoother, it can be difficult to truly accept ourselves as we are. Society places impossible standards on beauty, making many feel as if they are not enough. We are told to hide our flaws, to change the way we look, to conform to trends that define what is beautiful in any given moment. But real beauty is not found in perfection or conformity. It is found in authenticity. And the most powerful form of beauty is self-acceptance, the ability to embrace yourself fully without apology or comparison. Self-acceptance is beauty because it radiates confidence, peace, and inner strength. When a person accepts themselves for who they are, their strengths, their flaws, their quirks, they exude a natural glow that no makeup or fashion trend can replicate. There is something incredibly attractive about a person who stands firm in their identity, who does not shrink themselves to fit into someone else's mold, and who understands that their worth is not tied to their appearance. Many people spend their lives chasing an illusion of beauty, believing that if they just lost a little weight, fixed their skin, or changed some part of themselves, they would finally be happy. But true happiness does not come from changing yourself to fit an external standard. It comes from embracing yourself exactly as you are. The moment you stop seeking validation from others and start validating yourself, you unlock a beauty that is undeniable. Self-acceptance does not mean ignoring self-improvement. It does not mean that you stop striving to be healthy, strong, or the best version of yourself. What it does mean is that you recognize that you are already enough, even as you grow. It means loving yourself through every phase of life, not just when you meet a certain goal, but even when you fall short. It is understanding that your flaws do not make you less beautiful, they make you human. Think about the people who inspire you. Are they the ones who appear flawless, or are they the ones who embrace their imperfections with confidence and grace? Some of the most beautiful people are not those who try to be perfect, but those who are unapologetically themselves. They laugh without hesitation, express their thoughts openly, and carry themselves with a sense of self-assurance that makes them shine from the inside out. Self-acceptance also frees you from the exhausting cycle of comparison. The more you compare yourself to others, the more you lose sight of your own unique beauty. No two people are meant to look, act, or live the same way. The moment you stop measuring yourself against others and start celebrating your own individuality, you discover a beauty that is entirely your own. It takes courage to accept yourself in a world that profits from your insecurities. But when you choose self-acceptance, you take back your power. You stop waiting for others to tell you that you are beautiful, and you start believing it for yourself. And when you believe in your own beauty, others will see it too, not because you fit a societal mold, but because confidence, authenticity, and self-love are the most attractive qualities a person can have. Aging, scars, stretch marks, curves, freckles. These are not flaws. They are reminders of the life you have lived, the experiences you have gone through, and the journey that has shaped you. Your beauty does not come from erasing these things, but from embracing them as part of your unique story. So let us stop chasing a version of beauty that is dictated by others. Let us instead look in the mirror and see ourselves for who we truly are, worthy, unique, and already beautiful. Because the most breathtaking kind of beauty is not the one that conforms to trends, but the one that comes from loving yourself fully, unapologetically, and completely. Self-acceptance is not just beauty, it is freedom. And when you embrace yourself, you shine in a way that no one else ever can. For centuries, society has defined beauty by physical standards, flawless skin, symmetrical features, and the perfect body. We have been conditioned to believe that beauty is something we see, something external, something measured by reflection. But the truth is, real beauty is not just about appearances. It is about presence, kindness, and the way we make others feel. A person may have the most striking features in the world, but if their words and actions make others feel small, unworthy, or invisible, their beauty fades quickly. True beauty is not just seen with the eyes, it is felt in the heart. Think about the people who have left the greatest impact on your life. Were they the ones with the most perfect faces? Or were they the ones who made you feel safe, valued, and understood? Real beauty is found in the warmth of a smile, in the kindness behind a simple gesture, and in the comfort of knowing that someone genuinely cares. The way we make others feel speaks louder than any physical attribute. When someone treats us with respect, listens to us with full attention, and offers their kindness without expecting anything in return, we remember them. Their presence lingers not because of how they looked, but because of how they made us feel. That is the kind of beauty that does not fade with age or time. It only grows stronger. A truly beautiful person is one who lifts others up. They do not need to shine alone. They find beauty in making others shine too. They are the ones who celebrate your victories as if they were their own, who offer encouragement when you are struggling, and who remind you of your worth when the world makes you feel small. Their beauty is not just in their outward appearance, but in their ability to make others feel seen, heard, and valued. On the other hand, there are those who may have striking features but lack the beauty of kindness. A person who belittles others, who speaks with cruelty, or who acts selfishly may be admired from a distance, but their beauty never truly lasts. Physical attractiveness can capture attention, but it is kindness, generosity, and love that hold it. The beauty we bring into the world is a reflection of our character, not our reflection in a mirror. It is the way we comfort a friend in need, the way we treat a stranger with respect, and the way we offer love even when it is not expected. It is in our patience, our empathy, and our ability to uplift others, even in the smallest ways. Beauty is in the words we speak. A simple compliment can brighten someone's entire day. A word of encouragement can give someone the strength to keep going. A heartfelt apology can mend a broken relationship. Our words carry power, and when we use them to bring positivity into someone's life, we become more beautiful in their eyes. Beauty is also in our actions. Holding the door open for someone, offering a helping hand, showing kindness without expectation. These are the moments that define us. A person who acts with love and kindness leaves behind an energy that others will never forget. Some of the most beautiful people in history were not remembered for how they looked, but for how they made others feel. Leaders, teachers, caregivers, and friends. Those who showed love, who stood up for others, who made sacrifices to make the world a better place. These are the people whose beauty lasts forever. When we focus less on how we look and more on how we make others feel, we begin to understand the true essence of beauty. It is not about perfect features, expensive clothes, or fitting into an impossible standard. It is about making people feel loved, appreciated, and valued. It is about being the kind of person whose presence brings comfort and joy, whose words bring hope, and whose actions bring light into the lives of others. So let us redefine beauty. Let us not chase a fleeting image, but instead let us strive to be beautiful in the way we treat others. Because in the end, people may forget what we wore, how flawless our skin was, or how fashionable we appeared, but they will never forget how we made them feel. And that is the kind of beauty that lasts forever. True beauty is not found in flawless skin, perfect features, or fleeting trends. It is not something that fades with age, nor is it defined by the unrealistic standards set by society. Instead, beauty is found in strength and resilience, in the power of words and actions, in self-acceptance, and in the way we make others feel. Aging does not take away beauty, it enhances it, deepening our wisdom, enriching our character, and allowing our inner light to shine even brighter. Self-acceptance frees us from the endless pursuit of perfection, teaching us that we are already enough just as we are. The power of our words and actions reminds us that beauty is not just about how we appear, but about the kindness, love, and warmth we bring to the world. Ultimately, beauty is not just about being seen. It is about being felt. It is about the impact we leave behind, the comfort we provide, and the joy we spread. The most beautiful people are not those who chase perfection, but those who embrace themselves fully, uplift others selflessly, and carry themselves with authenticity and grace. So let us stop looking for beauty in reflections and start finding it in our actions, our kindness, and our ability to love and uplift those around us. Because in the end, true beauty is not something the eyes see, it is something the heart remembers.